Hello and how are you? Welcome to our second video of creating an e-commerce web application. My name is Mohindo Mubarak and I'm your tutor. In today's video, we're going to proceed from where we stopped at in the previous video. And remember, in the previous video, we were able to create a registration form and submit the registration information, and then we get it to another place. So in this video, we're going to start straight from there exactly. So this is the place where we received the information that was submitted from the previous form, and then we dumped it here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another file that we're going to put functions, because we don't want to repeat ourselves so many times. So we'll need an external file where we're going to put reusable functions. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and come here to files, and then I create a new file. Okay, new file. I'm going to call it functions.php. In this file of functions is where we're going to put a lot of logic or a lot of things that are going to be reusing. So for example, starting a session, almost everything here will depend on what? On sessions. So let us go ahead and put a code that will check for us if the session is started. If it's not started, then it will go ahead and start the session. So that's how we start the session in PHP. I'll explain properly what is meant by sessions and why you need sessions. So go ahead and put that piece of code there. So after doing that, now the first thing that we're going to do here, we're going to check if there is already a user with this existing email. Okay, we're going to check if there is already a user with this existing email, because we will not allow two multiple users to have same email. That's the first logic that we're going to begin with. Okay, and then if the user does not agree, then we'll go ahead and do what the logic of now registering this user after checking if the passwords are the same. So let's go ahead and do that first. Okay, so to do that, it means that we'll need to connect to database. Okay, we'll need to connect to database and select and see if there is some user who is having that information before or not. So it means that we'll need database connection. So here in our functions.php file, we're going to put a file, we're going to put the variable that will store for us the database connection, that I'm going to call con equals to mysqli. Okay, hope you know how to connect database. And then the first parameter will pass the location of database, which is at local host, and then the second parameter will pass the what? The user. Is it? What do you pass in the second parameter? Okay, we'll pass the user, I think, root, and then the third parameter will pass the password. Okay, so for Windows users, your default password is always nothing. So if you're using Windows machine, I think you may leave this second space as nothing. Okay, here. So the last thing, we'll have to pass the database that you're going to communicate with. Remember, we've already created a database which we called eShop, so I'll call that eShop. So I'm a Mac user. Mac users, by our default password is root. Okay, so that is it. And you have to put here new. So it's going to be new mysqli. Okay, new mysqli, and then the first thing, pass the localhost, the next root, and then password. If you're Windows, you may leave this one. Okay, if you're using Windows. So after doing that, after creating our connection, the next thing we're going to check now, we're going to we're going to select and see if there is a user with this email or not. So I'm going to include this PHP function file into our login logic. Okay, so that we should be able to use that connection. So I'll just simply come here and write require once, and then I'm going to include the functions file, which is under files functions.php. So I'm just trying to include these functions into this file so that all the functions will be in one place, but you'll be able to reuse them. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this email. So to get this email, we'll just simply say email equals to trim. We remove all the white spaces and then put post, and then get the email there. So there we have our email. Now let's go ahead and write the SQL that will tell if this user already exists or not, with the user with same email already exists or not. So let's go ahead and write the SQL. Just simply say SQL equals to select all from what? From users, where, and then you pass email equals, open the single quotes, and then you pass curly bracket like this, and then put the email like this. Okay, so let's dump this SQL by simply writing die and then put the SQL, and you see if our SQL is okay before we do what? We try to run it. So I'll go ahead and refresh. You see our SQL is okay. Our SQL is okay. Now after doing that, now let's go ahead and execute it. You know, we already have a file called, we already have here a function called con, a variable called con that has our what? That has our connection of database. So let's go ahead and use that con variable and say query, and then we pass the what? The SQL. Then here we'll have what we call the response or the resource, and let us dump the resource. So to dump the resource, we just simply come and remove this die guy, and then dump here the resource. Let me dump it here, the resource. Okay, so we're going to see what is there. Refresh. You see everything is okay, connection is okay, and everything is okay. So make sure that at least you're at this point. Don't proceed before you successfully reach this point. So you can see everything is okay, and the number of rows that are being returned is 0. So it means that there is no user who has this what? This who has this what? Who has this user? Who has this email? So let's go ahead and check that by putting this one here. Okay, num rows. So here I can now know the number of rows that have been returned. So you can now check if this number of rows, if there are more than one. So I'm going to check if this number of rows, okay, is more than 0. Okay, it's more than 0. Let me die here and say user with same email already exists. So there I will not proceed with what? With the registration process. In fact, we'll create a better user interface for that. Okay, but for now, let's just stop from there. So I think that's the main condition. Maybe you can put here post and see more things that they are submitting. That's the main condition. Then you can check if these two passwords match. If they don't match, then you can also tell that passwords don't match. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll just check if. So let's go ahead and get the password. So you already have the email. Let's go ahead and get the passwords. So I can just come and copy as they are here. So I can just come and say email is that, and then you can get the password like this. Okay, hope you're seeing that. So I'm getting the password from post. We can go ahead and get the password too. Okay, password this, and then you can go ahead and get the phone number. Let's get everything from the post. Get the phone number, and then we get the email. Okay, the email I've already got it. The first name and last name, first name and first name here, and then the last name and last name. To duplicate a column, just point in a column, press Ctrl, Shift, and arrow down. That's the shortcut for Windows, for Mac. I don't know for Windows how it is. Maybe I hope it's the same. Ctrl, Shift, and arrow down. You'll be able to duplicate. So we now have all the variables that have been submitted. The next thing, you're going to check if the password 1 is same as password 2. Okay, in fact that one's supposed to be done before we check if there is already exists on the database. So check if password 1 is not equal to password 2, then you can say passwords do not match. Okay, and we'll go ahead and die here. Let me go ahead and put it here before we even check the what. So I can die here and say passwords did not match. Okay, so that's it, and that's it. Okay, so password did not match. What else? Then if you pass those two conditions, I think we are now going to register you into the database. Okay, I mean to add you into the database. So let's go ahead and write the logic for adding the user into the database. Of course, it will be simply SQL, which is going to be insert into users, and say into users, and then you open the bracket, and then you pass here what you want to insert into the users. Okay, so you're going to insert the first name, sorry, don't put the quotes like this. First name, comma, last name, and then phone number, and then first name, last name, phone number, and then password and email. Password and email. So the other thing that we'll have to register also is a user type, user underscore type, because we have to know whether this guy is a customer or not. So by default, we'll make this person a customer. So also on password, we'll have to hash it. We'll have to hash it so that in case any hacker falls on our password, he cannot know the password of what? Of people. So this password has to be hashed. So you have to be password hash, like this. This is a file of PHP, and then the first thing you'll have to pass the password itself, which is under password, and then the second thing you have to put password default, this one, that constant. So this logic will hash the password. Let me show you how the password looks like when it is hashed. So I'll come there and die it there, and then you can see this is our hashed password did not match. How did you check? If is not, have to make this one not, not. Okay, check it, put this one as not. So refresh. You see, that's a hashed password, and that's what you're going to save in the database. So let's go ahead. So that's done. Now let's go ahead and now put the values. So to put the values, so you see how I'm writing my SQL insert into users, and I open this bracket and I put everything that I want to insert. I don't put a comma at last, and then I close the bracket. Then I come and write the word values, and on open bracket and close it like this. So in these values, now we're going to put now the real values. So the first thing is going to be first name. Remember the name of the variables here, the first name that you collected looks like this one. Okay, so it's going to be first name. So you put the $sign first name. You can even put these curly brackets, then put here a comma here, right? Put there a comma. First name, put last name, put what else? Phone number. So you have to follow this exact order that you used here. Phone number, the next thing, password. Okay, the next thing is email, and the next thing is user type. Okay, user type, we say we're going to call this person a customer by default. Customer. So when someone creates the function, someone try to create the account for the very first time, we will save that person as a what? As a customer. So later we can maybe increase their privileges. So let's go ahead and die with this SQL and see what we've come up with. By just simply come and put here die, and then see what we've come up with. Refresh. See, that's our SQL. I think here there's not supposed to be a comma here. Not supposed to have a comma. Refresh. It's beautiful. Okay, so let's go ahead and run that SQL. So to run the SQL is going to be insert. It's going to be connection, and then say query, and then we pass the SQL. So you can surround it with the if condition if you want to see if this account was created successfully or not. So just say if, and then I can die here and say account created successfully. And then I can also come here and say else, and then say die failed to create account, just in case it fails to create. So that's it. That's great. So let's go ahead and refresh and see what we'll come up with. So I refresh, boom, failed to create account. So let's see what could be the reason. First name, last name, phone number, password, email, user type. Okay, so what was the problem? You can find the problem by also dumping that connection. You'll be able to see the error. So let's dump this connection and you'll be able to see the error. Echo pre-tag, and then you can dump let's dump print underscore r, and then you dump this in this SQL. Okay, refresh. Failed to create the card. Then you can see an error list. Here is where they give you the error. Field created does not have a default value. Okay, you have to specify also the field created. So comma created. So you can also come here and create a variable for created, and this is going to have just our today's timestamp. To get a timestamp, just put here like this, time, like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and add here one more column. See, created. We also add it here, comma, and say created. So from there now we can know, hope everything is going to be fine now. Refresh. Account created successfully. I hope if I refresh right now, they should tell me that user with the same email already exists. Okay, so that is very great achievement. Okay, now we have to redirect this back. We have to redirect this back in case someone wants to create an email that is already an account with an email that's already existing. We have to tell them that, hey, this account already exists. Okay, but before we tell them that, let us first before we tell them that, let us first log in the user, right? Let us first log in the user who does it correctly. So I'll come back and I'll go ahead and resubmit this form. So user with same email already exists. So I'm going to delete everything in the database so that you should create a fresh account. So now let's go ahead and log in the user. So we can create the function for logging in the user. So let's go ahead and do that. You're going to just simply say here function, and we're going to call it login user. Okay, login user. So you're going to put that function that it will be a central place where we'll be putting the logic of logging in user. So I'm going to go ahead and do it and create that function. So it's going to be function login underscore user. So everywhere we want to log in the user, we'll be doing it here under this centralized point. Okay, login underscore user. Is it setting owning? Okay, let's go ahead and do it from here. Okay, so to log in the user, so just going to say function login underscore user, open bracket, curly bracket, and put here. So why is it crying? Let me see. Nope. Then why this function is not. Okay, we'll fix this function later. So let's go ahead and log in the user. So to log in the user, we're just going to create a new session. And then everything that we log in about the user will be under this user variable. and then after we're going to get all the information that the user has submitted and put it inside here. Or we can just go ahead and first get that information from database and then save it. So let's go ahead and do that. No, that's not a good idea. Let's go ahead and create a function that's going to log in the user. So just simply come here and say function login underscore user. So this function is the one that we'll be using for what? For logging in the user. So we can say die time to login user. Okay, so let's go ahead and call this function and see. So that function, let's just call it from top here, but we'll put in the right place later. Let's call it here from top here, and then we see refresh time to login user, right? I don't know why it was warning me here. I don't know, but what are they saying? At never, I don't know. I don't know why they're warning me, but it works. That's supposed to be. I don't know why it's doing this. Return nothing. Is it now fine? This thing, it doesn't know. Let's just leave it. Okay, so now time to log in the user. I don't know why this error is there. Unexpected. I don't know. We'll see. Now let's go ahead and log in the user now. So to log in the user, here it'll be just asking for the email and password. Email and password to log in the user. Okay. So let's go ahead and log in the user. So the first thing is to connect, to select this user from what? From the database. So let's go ahead and provide here the email and password that this person has provided. So put email and then password. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if everything that has been submitted is okay. So I can die here with email and then password. Let's see if everything there is okay. Refresh. Email and password is there. So now let's go ahead and now see if to log in the user, the first logic that we'll have to do is to select this user from what? From database. So SQL, I've already written this SQL somewhere. So let's go ahead and copy it. Okay. So I'll come here to login logic and copy this SQL of selecting. Okay. So we don't need to repeat it. Select it. And then go ahead and do that. So we'll go ahead and see, select all from users where. So here we'll have the connection. So if you want to use the connection that is outside here, you have to write the word global and then put that connection there. Okay. So that's the only way you can access this, something that is outside. Write the word global and put the name of the connection on top of these lines. Then go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and see whatever has come. So can just simply say print underscore r and then come and see what has come. Echo pre tag. So let's go ahead and refresh. You see there is only one row that has come. So we can go ahead and see if this row does not come back. We'll just go back and refresh and send back that it has failed to log in. So let's go ahead and collect this row. So to collect that first row, we just simply say okay, let's first check if this row is nothing. Okay, if there is nothing that has been returned. Okay, so if there is nothing that has been returned, we'll return false. Okay, we'll return false. So just simply say if num rows is less than 1, let us return false, meaning that has failed to log in because of some reasons. Okay, so we return false. So That is in case. So the other side will have to check if to return true or false. So the next thing that we'll have to do, we'll have to check now numbers is done. Now let us go ahead and collect this user. So I can say user, or can say row equals then resource that has been returned, and then say fetch ASOC. So this fetch ASOC is going to get for us the data that has just returned from what? From database. So let us go ahead and dump this data here. Refresh. You see, that's the data that has returned from what? From database. Okay. So you see, when this created is not being substituted properly. So let's go ahead and fix it. This created, that's just, we forgot to put a $sign here. Yes. So now after doing that, now the next thing is to now check if the username and password is correct, right? Username and password is correct. So to check the username and password is correct, to use again password verify. You know this password is a what? Is a hash. So this is a password that has been sent to us, and there is another password in this row. So I'll just go ahead and say if password verify. Okay, if password verify, so the first path you pass the string, the next thing you pass the what? The hash. Okay, so just put row, and then you point at password. Okay, like this. So I'll just put here note in case it fails. Okay, so if it fails, then I'll return again false, meaning that password has failed. Okay, so this row is here. I'll just put here. I don't know why it is behaving like this. I think it's supposed to, it's a fetch ASOC, so it is associative array. You have to pass like this. Okay, so I put here a note in case it is not verified, and then I'll return false. So if I come and refresh, everything is okay. Now, after having that, now we'll go ahead and create a session. So we'll have to call session start. Session's already started. So the next thing you'll have to do what? To log in the user. So to log in the user, we're going to keep this information into session user. So this session is a place where you can access these variables from anywhere. So I just say session, and then I put user, and then here I can now save every information that has came from database here like this, and then redirect this person to the account. Okay, so this is when we have successfully logged in someone, and then here we'll have to return true. Let's go ahead and return true. Return true. That's when you have logged in you successfully. So if I come and refresh, we'll see nothing. Of course, the user same name already exists. So let's go ahead and go back. You see, that's the logic of logging in. I hope you can see it, and I hope you can understand it. Okay, so when every time we want to log in someone, we'll be just calling this function, and if it fails, to return for us false. If it succeeds, to return for us true. You get it, eh? So let's go ahead and go to the login logic again, and go ahead and cut this method and put it here, and put it here to account created successfully. So once the account is created successfully, we'll have to log in someone. Okay, and then after logging that person, we'll have to redirect that person to their dashboard. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. These errors, we're going to see how to fix them. So die here. So let's go ahead and redirect this user to the path to their login to the dashboard. So to do that, we just simply say dashboard. No, sorry, we're going to say head, and then in this header, we're going to pass this location. Say location. Just write exactly as it is there, location, and then put a semicolon, and then colon, and then pass here where you want to direct the user to. So we are now going to create here a place where you will have to have the user account or the user dashboard. So let us first see which user. Okay, let's just create an account home, when someone is logged in or the user is logged in, what should they see? Oh, to their home. So you have here an account, orders, payment, account addresses, wish list tickets, single ticket. Let's just take this user direct to their what? To their orders. So we're going to create a file for orders, orders. So account orders. So I'll come here to my project, and then I'll come here and create a new file. I'm going to call it account orders.php. Okay, account-orders.php. Then I can die here and say, okay, say account orders. Just I save that file. So when the user successfully logs in, let us redirect that user to account-orders.php. Okay, that's where we're going to direct. If it fails, we'll show this one. So let's go ahead and create a new account. So that is my username. So I hope you've understood this point. Here we're redirecting the user to what? To account orders. So let's go ahead and change this email maybe, and then submit. Password 4321, password 4321. Submit, sign up. See, success, account orders. So it means that here we have successfully logged in the user. So that's it for today. I hope you've understood. You can rewatch the video, or the parts that you don't understand that you should understand, and just don't watch it like a movie. Watch as you practice. Now in the next video, so we're going to now put the constraints, like redirecting the user with what? With messages, and completing the logic of logging in a user. Right now I've completed the logic of what? Of registration. Only that we need just put the condition in case someone fails to log in, what should tell them. Okay, so that's what we're going to do in the next video. We're going to work on the what? On the complete login logic. Hope you not miss, and see you in the next video.